Hey guys, I'm back with another video from round 2 of the 2018 Chess Olympiad in Batumi, Georgia. Now, as I was watching the live games, I've noticed that Georgia's third team managed to give the US quite a scare. They scored 1.5 to 2.5, even though they lost the match. They only lost 1 game and drew three other games. But it was quite an impressive feat considering that most of these players were rated about 400 ELO points lower than the American players. So kudos to Georgia's third team for putting up a very good performance. However, in this video, I will be covering a game from Levon Aronian as I found that game to be quite interesting. So in this game, Aronian had the white pieces and he faced Grandmaster Jumabayev from Kazakhstan. So without further ado, let's jump right into the game. Aronian opens with e4. We have c5, knight to f3, e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, a6. So black goes for the Khan variation. Bishop to d3, bishop c5, knight b3, bishop to e7, and here queen to g4 from Aronian. So this provokes black to play g6, which weakens the dark squares. Aronian retreats his queen. We have d6. Here white castles, knight to d7 and a4, a typical idea in the Sicilian, preventing black from going b5. b6, so Jumabayev is preparing to fianchetto his bishop. And here knight to a3 from Aronian, so a very interesting idea. The plan is to go knight to c4, putting pressure on b6. And white can also pile up on b6 with moves like a5 and bishop to e3. We have bishop to b7, knight to c4, queen to c7, and here a5. Here b5 from Jumabayev, and Aronian plays knight to b6. Here black can play knight takes b6. This wins a pawn, but he probably didn't do that because this gives white the a5 square for his knight. And this is a very pleasant positional advantage for white. So here rook b8, simply moving the rook out of harm's way, and we have c4 from Aronian. So the purpose of this move is, for one, it opens up the c file after the pawns are traded, and here white is trying to create a 2-on-1 majority on the queen side after these pawns are traded. So here we have b takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight g to f6 and bishop to e3, giving more protection to the knight on b6. Knight takes e4, so here white trades the e pawn for the a pawn, and now you can see that there are 2 passed pawns for white. Bishop takes a6, queen takes a6, black castles. We have queen to b5, rook after d8, queen to a4 from Aronian, so the queen steps out of the rook's line of fire. We have knight e to c5, knight takes c5, d takes c5, and here bishop to f4. So this forces black to play bishop d6, and Aronian is hoping that trading off some pieces would make this pawn more dangerous for white. We have knight takes d7, rook takes d7, rook after d1, so more pieces are getting traded off. Here obviously not bishop takes because this rook would hang. So here rook to b4 from black, and bishop takes d6 should be enough for white to seal the deal. After rook takes, bishop takes queen, rook takes a1, rook takes a1, rook takes a bishop. Here this pawn is very dangerous. White is simply going to march his king over to b5, and this should be enough for a win for white. But instead of this, Aronian plays queen takes d7. So Aronian has given up his queen for a rook and a bishop in hopes that this pawn will be enough to see him through. But after queen takes d7, bishop takes d6, here black plays rook to a4. And no matter what happens, black is going to win the a5 pawn. If rook takes a4, queen takes a4 comes with an attack on the rook and the pawn. So after rook to c1, with hopes of trading this pawn for the c5 pawn, after queen takes. Here obviously not rook captures because then there will be a back rank checkmate. Here bishop takes c5, and at the end of this variation, black has queen to d2 with an attack on the rook and the pawn. After a move like bishop to e3, queen takes b2 from black, and if anyone can win this position, it is going to be black. So here bishop to e5 from Aronian, we have rook takes a5, and you can't capture this rook because then queen takes d1 would be checkmate. So here we have rook a to c1, queen to e7 from black, and here instead of queen to e7, queen to e8 is probably more accurate because the queen keeps watch of the back rank. White has back rank issues because this bishop controls the dark squares around black's king. So here queen to e7, and this allows white some chances. Here white wins the c5 pawn with b4. So you cannot capture this pawn because rook c8 and black has to give up his queen. So here rook to a8, we have b takes c5, and here queen to g5 would be the best defensive try for black, simply trying to kick this bishop off this long diagonal. And if white tries to maintain this bishop on the long diagonal, for example bishop to a1, then comes rook to c8, putting pressure on c5, and well, black cannot capture immediately because of his back rank issues. But after moves like h5, which gives the king a flight square, then he is ready to capture on c5. But here we have f6 from Jumabayev. Well, this gives the king a flight square, but some flight squares, but unfortunately that opens up the 7th rank, and this could come back to haunt black. Bishop d6, queen to a7, c6, rook to c8, c7. So now this queen's defense of the 7th rank is cut off, and moves like bishop f4, rook d8 are coming. King to g7, bishop to f4, so now white is threatening rook to d7, and followed by rook to d8. Queen to a4, protecting this square and also looking at the bishop. Bishop to e3, queen a5, so threatening to take the c7 pawn, but rook to d7 check from white. King g8, h3, so this solves any back rank issues that white might have. We have g5, and here rook to b1, simply threatening to play rook b8. And here you can't play rook takes c7 because rook to b8 check would soon be mate in a few more moves. So here, after rook to b1, black plays queen to a8, trying to guard the b8 square. But here a very nice finish from Aronian. Can you spot it? Well, if you want to guess the move, I'll give you a few seconds to do so. So are you ready? Here Aronian played bishop to a7, and it was in this position that Jumabayev resigned the game. So the point of bishop to a7 is simply that it supports rook to b8. If queen takes a7, then rook to d8 check wins the game for white. So a very nice game from Levon Aronian. I hope you enjoyed the game, and if you do, please subscribe for more future content. Thank you for watching and have a great day.